Have you ever, in your experience, taken a bet purely on the founder?
So I think out of the 88 companies that we've invested, 80-90% of the companies are purely on the founders, because the founders' ability to rise from rank 100 to rank 1 is what will take a startup to another level.
I want to understand this specifically for any of the founders watching. तो अगर मेरे पास 1 करोड़ रुपया है, कितने रेवेन्यू तक मुझे जाना चाहिए with that much capital first of all? सेकेंडली, उतना रेवेन्यू टच करने के बाद मुझे और फंडिंग कहाँ से लानी चाहिए और क्यों लानी चाहिए और कितना डाइल्यूट करना चाहिए?
आपके पास एटलीस्ट 30% रहेगा, तो जब आप अपना थोड़ा होल्डिंग निकालोगे, देन यू विल हैव समथिंग टू काइंड ऑफ make for yourself.
How did the Blusmart story play out?
Blusmart, once hailed as India's answer to sustainable ride-hailing, is now in the eye of a financial storm.
Again, the founders, they asked for an exit, said that, we are only buying out your shares. It kind of suddenly dried up when they became real big.
Everyone wants to go to the IPO stage and list their companies. But IPO के पहले और IPO तक जाने में भी बहुत सारे challenges होते हैं. It's not so easy to scale up. What exactly is a pre-IPO? Venture capitalists look at a 10-year, 11-year period. They have fixed IRRs as to when they will get their exit. What is your exit strategy?
Keep on chasing the capital. You should chase the customers where the actual revenue is going to come in. Revenue आएगा तो capital अपने आप आएगा.
Welcome back to the Corner Office Show. I'm Ruchit and today we're sitting with Mrunal Jhaveri, founding partner at ICE.vc and the key decision maker at one of India's old family offices. He straddles legacy along with the new wave. On one side, he has patient generational capital, and on the other side, he has a portfolio of 80 plus startups which helps him move at speed. In the next few minutes, you'll understand the exact difference between a family office and a VC fund. What did Mrunal learn after investing in more than 80 startups? What are some common red flags or green flags which are found in a founder? He was an early investor in Blusmart, and he tells us that he saw some early governance red flags and exited before the storm. In the end, wait for Mrunal to break down exactly how a founder should reach from early stage to an IPO level. Let's get into it. Hi Mrunal, welcome to the Corner Office.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time. So, when did you start Icebreaker VC, first of all? And you're traditionally a family office. So, can you differentiate the two? What is a family office? What is a venture capital? And how did you foray into venture capital?
I think 2014 is the time when internet was coming up because of Jio, and I think a lot of consumer behavioral changes were happening. India was getting at this point where US was the 10 years back in terms of tech, technology, consumer, a lot of new brands coming in. So that's where we decided to look into this space.
Right. So, traditionally being a family office, can you help us understand what goes behind a family office? What are the funds which are deployed?
Yeah, so we are not a fund per se. We are a family office. So we have our own capital that we invest. And I think the family office is divided into few sectors that we look in. So it's basically the public markets in India and US, and then it's startups. We used to do startups outside India, but now seeing the Indian markets, I think we are almost 80-90% in India.
Right. And what is the asset allocation like if I talk about equity markets or that of startup investments?
So I think it was initially 80-20 or 90-10. I think that's changed to 70-30,
right.
Going probably to 60-40, hopefully.
Okay, so that is 70 in
equity.
equity.
70 equity and 30 startups.
Right. And what has your experience in that been like so far?
So I think it's been a learning curve from startup 1 to startup number 88. I think the first startup that we invested was in Super Daily, which was your daily supply of, breads. They started with daily supply of breads, eggs, milk, your everyday morning needs. And that's been an interesting space because we used to go to the shops and buy your doodhwalas used to come and give you milk packets. So I think that was a good investment that we did. The first investment that we did like a 5x exit on that. So that was really, I would say, lucky investment. And I think most of the people I've met, the first investment has always been very good.
So how many of the 88 startups that you invested in, how many have succeeded?
Right.
How many have shut operations? How many are still going well?
I think 50 have been good successes. 30 are grinding it, growth phase. And I think 20 to 30% are in almost shut down or like in the verge of shutting down.
Right. And how many exits from those?
So we have about 10, 11 hard exits and I think 3, 4 more in the pipeline.
Wow, wow, wow. That's great to know. So for a 2014 fund, that's 11 years. So what kind of time frame do you look at when you invest?
So we kind of come in early as friends and family or a pre-seed round, and where the companies are still young, and we kind of look to exit at a Series A or a B space. So we will not say that we have a 100x or we have a 25x or we have a 50x, but we can say we have multiple 5 to 7x exits and more possible exits than a lot of folks that I've seen.
So can you take us through your first check as a VC?
First check was pretty interesting. I think it was a very young ecosystem, and we got these deals through Angel Network, and the space looked very innovative. Everything you could order all in one subscription. Your milk, bread, eggs, which was very exciting for us as a space to look at.
Okay, so Mrunal, we've seen startup is the first step, right? Sub companies को का एक dream होता है that everyone wants to go to the IPO stage and list their companies. But IPO के पहले और IPO तक जाने में भी बहुत सारे challenges होते हैं. It's not so easy to scale up. What exactly is a pre-IPO? So pre-IPO funding या investments कैसे होता है and उसमें कैसे कोई अपना exit ले सकता है या personal motive पूरा कर सकता है?
Right. I think pre-IPO is becoming a big trend currently because let's say अगर VC money dry up हो जाता है and the company is really growing well and they are बोलते कि EBITDA positive है, doing good numbers, so a lot of them look to go for SME IPO and we've seen a lot of tech companies coming in. I think उसमें खाली Zomato अब तक successful हुआ है, बाकी all of them have eroded capital 40%, 50% or more. So I think there are a few ways. First of all, शायद the companies उन लोग को they have to go to an investment banker who can जो बोलते हैं अच्छा book बना दे, अच्छा anchor book बना दे. Then they file the DRHP, which is the draft red herring prospectus, which kind of legalizes their framework. Company क्या कर रही है, क्या numbers है, क्या growth potential है. And once that happens, then they kind of get to these. Then these bankers take them to family offices or other networks who do pre-IPOs. And I think pre-IPO में as such कोई check sizes पे इतना constraint नहीं होता है. But yeah, some companies do require bigger check sizes. Some companies are okay because एक बार company IPO जारी होती है, then number of shareholders does not matter as it matters in a startup. So I think it's a good way and काफ़ी सारी companies इंडिया में अब list होने जा रही है. The trend is just picked up and yeah.
And how is that different from offer from sale? तो offer for sale जब भी हमने सुना है, which is also happens on a pre-IPO level. Founders happily exit, but the VCs are not so happy about offer.
So I think it is again a mixed bag because sometimes, I think some founders are very tricky. They want to take an exit and work on something else, and then sometimes काफी investors का पैसा उसमें फंस जाता है. But let's say the IPO route is positive, then the people can take an exit either before the company is going to list, because एक बार company list हो जाती है उसके बाद 6 months तक आपको you have to hold the shares and we've seen a lot of times anything can happen in those 6 months.
We would like to take this opportunity to understand from you. एक breakdown समझना चाहते हैं हम लोग कि let's say अगर मैं एक founder हूँ, I have raised some money, मैंने around 1 crore जमा कर लिया and I want to scale this company from the current level to multiple rounds of venture capital funding or a family office funding, and then अगर मुझे IPO के level तक जाना है तो ये पूरे का एक road map क्या होना चाहिए, which are the trending sectors right now which I should be looking at and which are the core points or milestones जहाँ पर मुझे खुद को assess करना चाहिए और grow करना चाहिए.
Yeah, I think interesting question for a young founder जिसने खाली अभी पैसा raise किया हो, उसके लिए there are a lot of ways to go about it. And first main point जो मेरे को बोलना चाहिए कि instead of keep on chasing the capital, आपको you should chase the customers where the actual revenue is going to come in. And lot of interesting sectors आ गए, जैसे AI. A lot of people have started using AI everywhere. sales agents AI, data collecting AI, no code app AI, और इवन कंज्यूमर में इंडिया हैज़ बिकम वेरी एस्पिरेशनल. तो लाइक अभी जो पहले 100 रुपीज़ या 200 रुपीज़ स्पेंड करता था वो अभी आज के ज़माने में 500 रुपीज़ भी स्पेंड करने को रेडी है. लॉट ऑफ दीज पीपल हैव इंडिया इज गेटिंग टू अ गुड पॉइंट वेयर पीपल डोंट माइंड स्पेंडिंग ऑन गुड प्रोडक्ट्स. तो मेरे ख्याल से अगेन मेन पॉइंट इज गेट टू दैट रेवेन्यू फेज जहाँ पे आपको कस्टमर्स चेस करना है. एंड देन उसके बिकॉज ऑफ दैट हैपनिंग द मनी द कैपिटल विल ऑटोमेटिकली फॉलो. जैसे अगर आप जाके किसी को बोलते हो कि मैं ये कंज्यूमर ब्रांड में 2 करोड़ या 3 करोड़ मंथली का रेवेन्यू है, तो पीपल विल लुक एट यू स्ट्रांगली. अच्छा, यू रीच दैट पॉइंट. एंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ द IPO, आई थिंक द स्टोरी इज फेयरली सिंपल. यू हैव टू हैव अ डिसेंट रनवे, यू हैव टू बी एबिटा पॉजिटिव, एंड देन उसके ऊपर जो मल्टीपल्स आते हैं दैट बी डिफाइंड वेयर योर कंपनीज वैल्यूज वर्थ इज. सो आई थिंक दीज आर द 2-3 की एलिमेंट्स जो आपको माइंड में रखना है. अगेन रिपीटिंग द सेम कि आप कैपिटल चीज मत करो, चीज योर कस्टमर्स. रेवेन्यू आएगा तो कैपिटल अपने आप आएगा. एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स कीप ऑन हायरिंग द राइट टीम. अगर आपका टेक कंपनी है तो मेक श्योर कि टेक प्लेटफॉर्म अच्छा होना चाहिए. लाइक अगर आप कोई टेक प्लेटफॉर्म बनाते हो, लोगों को 1 मिनट में डिलीट करने को टाइम नहीं लगेगा. एंड वंस दैट ऐप इज डिलीटेड, people are not going to come back to your app. And if you're making a product, make sure that the product kind of stands out. Let's say if you're making a D2C brand, like a sneaker brand, then make sure it's standing out. And most importantly, आपको marketing आना चाहिए. How you're able to sell the product to your right customers. I think these 3 key elements आपको एक अच्छे space पे ले जा सकते हैं.
Right, and help me break it down a little bit more, because I want to understand this specifically for any of the founders watching. तो अगर मेरे पास 1 करोड़ रुपया है, मुझे कितना, for example let's take a consumer brand, how much revenue should I do, कितने revenue तक मुझे जाना चाहिए with that much capital first of all. Secondly, उतना revenue touch करने के बाद मुझे और funding कहाँ से लानी चाहिए और क्यों लानी चाहिए और कितना dilute करना चाहिए. Currently let's say मैंने एट एन अर्ली स्टेज कोई भी 20% डाइल्यूट कर देता है. आगे जाके आफ्टर द VC राउंड फिर मुझे कितना रेवेन्यू टारगेट करना चाहिए टू रीच लेट्स से एन MSME IPO या एक IPO लेवल तक.
सो आई थिंक वो रेवेन्यू लाने के लिए क्या बर्न करना चाहिए, देयर आई नॉट गो, बिकॉज हर एक फाउंडर का अपना अपना वे होता है. बट इन टर्म्स ऑफ डाइल्यूशन आई कैन डेफिनेटली से कि सीरीज ए तक आपके पास डेफिनेटली 70% होना चाहिए. बिकॉज सीरीज ए में अगर VC जाते हैं दे विल लुक एट टेकिंग एनी वेयर 10 or 15% इक्विटी. यू गो डाउन टू 55 एट सीरीज B एंड देन सो ऑन. तो बाय द टाइम यू आर एट IPO यू शुड आपके पास एटलीस्ट 30% रहेगा. तो जब आप अपना थोड़ा होल्डिंग निकालोगे देन यू विल हैव समथिंग टू काइंड ऑफ make for yourself. So I think that is the equity breakdown that I feel a lot of founders have been also उनके पास capability कि वो आगे चल के they buy back and then do the pre-IPO. So yeah.
Okay, so how much ever dilution done, IPO तक आने तक a founder or the founder kitty should have approximately 30-35 minimum.
20-30% easily should be with them.
Right, okay. And जब valuation की बात करते हैं सब लोग they talk about multiples कि मुझे कितना revenue करना है उसके against मैं कितना उसका multiple लगाऊँ valuation का. What are your inputs on how to value your startup for a founder?
Right. तो I think again सब sectors का अलग अलग value होता है and then there are some founders जो idea भी last week founder आया था खाली deck लेके आया था and he had a revenue projection which was crazy. तो उस पर ही valued himself at a $33 million just on the deck. तो मेरे को तो पहले पूछना पड़ा whether it's 33 crores, 33 million INR या 33 million USD. तो he said नहीं 33 million USD. तो he's like, I told him कि थॉट प्रोसेस क्या है. तो बोलता है कि अगर मैं US में होता तो मुझे इतना मतलब अभी तो आप इंडिया में हो तो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट इंडिया. सो दैट इज़ अ वेरी वीक पॉइंट. बट आई थिंक लेट्स से कंज्यूमर ब्रांड्स गेट एनीवेयर बिटवीन 4 to 6 multiples. SaaS AI companies get anywhere 7 to 10x multiples. Repeat founders get 8 to 10x multiples. So I think everyone has their way of valuing themselves. मुझे लगता है अगर कोई नया फाउंडर होता है he should value himself right, because if he grows a first 1 or 2 successful companies, later on उसको valuation अपने आप मिलने वाला है.
So Mrunal, we have a segment called Invest or Pass where basically we want to give you some tricky situations.
Sure.
Which we want your opinion on if you would personally invest in them or pass in them. And one simple rule, 10 seconds per question, no diplomacy.
God. And I hope they are not from my portfolio companies.
No. We would never do that. Okay, so are you ready?
Yeah.
WhatsApp led Kirana ordering for apartment complexes, daily curated baskets. Invest or pass?
Pass.
Thrift marketplace for once worn wedding outfits with doorstep pickup and cleaning. Invest or pass?
Again, pass.
Pass. Pet care chain bundling vet visits, grooming, and food in one subscription.
All right. I think invest because I think now more people are becoming pet parents than raising babies. So I think invest.
Regional snacks brand scaling through community stores and housing society stalls.
Pass. I think there are too many. It's a very tough competition for them to grow. So I don't think they have a lot of room for new snacks to come in.
Right. Women's safety smart charm that shares location with a double tap.
Can look to invest after a deep dive.
Okay.
Sorry.
Prepaid card for gig workers with instant wage access after each shift.
Pass. I think we invested in one of those companies and that failed miserably. So
Okay. Battery swap points for e-rickshaws run by local franchisee owners.
invest.
Cooling as a service for small warehouses and pay per pallet cooled.
Pass.
Society level procurement app. For example, bulk buys for the entire complex.
Pass. We've seen some of those apps and I think those have not done well.
Right. Sibling co-founders with clear roles, but family dynamics clearly show up in meetings.
Pass.
Pass. A well-connected corporate executive with a polished pitch deck, but no skin in the game yet.
No, pass.
A 19-year-old who hasn't figured out the product, but has 1 million TikTok followers hyped up about the idea.
Can think.
Okay. Influencer-led brand, strong demand, weak operations, but the founder is ready to hire an operations CEO.
Again, pass. We've seen those influencers at one point they scale well, and then from there it all goes like a downfall.
Right, because maybe the product is not that strong.
Yeah.
Loved by open source community, paying customers are few but engaged.
Again, pass. The market won't be very big.
Right. Cap table crowded with many small angels, no clear lead investor.
Pass because I think by that time the companies every time they would raise a round they would have to go to these people to kind of get their paperwork done and it's a big nightmare to do.
Correct. AI that writes Bollywood style ad jingles for D2C brands in minutes.
Can look to invest.
Okay. Designer sneaker rentals for weddings and college fests.
I think pass because in sneakers we've seen there's been a good growth in a lot of these companies. But I think, competition is tough. And if one company does it, there are 10, 20 companies doing it similarly.
Right. Yeah. So that brings us to the end.
Yeah.
As a founder myself, I want to understand what are some clear red flags or green flags. What do you look over the course of investing in 88 startups?
Right.
I'm sure you would have met many more.
So I think couple of traits जो मेरे को लगता है personally. Some founders जो आके बोलते हैं कि next 3 years में unicorn बन जाएगा. I think a clear red flag. मतलब it takes at least 5 to 7 years to get to that stage. Or some founders will say, okay, you will give me a 1 million check and मैं आपका 100 crore revenue कर दूंगा. तो I'm like in my mind I think all these companies in the SME space or the listed space who has struggled so far to reach at this point. इन लोग अगर इतना time लगा तो what quick these founders are up to that they're going to reach, So I think these are the clear red flags. And I think the good founders जो होते हैं, उन लोग के पास there will not be any flashy stuff happening in the company. Simple living standards also, simple office. I think very clear on what they're doing. You tell them with 10 different ideas, they'll be like, नहीं हमको यही करना है. And they'll be persistent with that idea, and I think those would be the interesting ones to watch out.
Right. So you look at matter more than anything else.
Correct.
Okay. And have you ever, in your experience, taken a bet purely on the founder and not even when the numbers don't add up?
So I think out of the 88 companies that we have invested, 80-90% of the companies are purely on the founders because the founders who has the control of his ship. And I think the founders, as I said before, the founders' ability to rise from rank 100 to rank 1 is what will take a startup to another level.
Right. That's great to know. And you mentioned previously that you don't look at IIT, IIM pedigree, right? So, in terms of the green flags that you mentioned, what are the ones which really stand out in the first impression, and what have you seen over time which diminish, in terms of value?
I think I would say, a term that I use really regularly, or a lot of these local SMEs use the word, term word jugadu. So I think these are the kind of founders that really excite me, who can kind of, I have seen some companies, they are doing some traditional businesses in the startup sector, but completely shifted that business into AI. So, something like that.
Right, right. So a lot of these, like you rightly said, Jugadu founders, they will help you from going from 0 to 1 very easily.
Yeah.
So even though when traditionally you're not able to solve these problems, these people bring an unorthodox approach and get you from 0 to 1.
Yeah.
VCs are generally, or family offices are generally known to provide and give the funds, right? Where do your funds come from? A lot of funds are, bringing in capital from the US and deploying in India. Are you doing something similar? Where do you get your funds from?
Right. No, so we have partnered with a few US networks. I'll not name them now, but what we do is we have a lot of capital in India itself. So we connect the founders to a lot of VC friends that we have, syndicate networks, and some of the founders they have figured out on their own, and then we are just like the last check coming in. So it's all multiple permutations and combinations.
Okay, so we've seen venture capitalists look at a 10-year, 11-year period. They have fixed IRRs as to when they will get their exit. What is your exit strategy?
Right. So our exit strategy is fairly simple. We as a family office, we don't need to generally look at an IRR, but what we do is, as I said, we come in like a super early stage, like even a friends and family round or a pre-seed round. So and look to kind of exit when the company is at a Series A or a Series B. So we kind of look at in the range of 5 to 7x multiples, and also we've learned from the past few mistakes that as and when the founders offering an exit do take in, because we have examples in the portfolio like Blusmart, PharmEasy, all doing super well, and then we were lucky enough to take exits over there, but had we not taken the exit, then where the story is now. So yeah, I think exit is important as long as the founder is offering. We take it. We've taken as small in 1.5x exit in Fitso, where it was being getting acquired by Zomato, and I think it's pretty important for us to like exit at the right time.
That was actually something that I was going to ask you. How did the Blusmart story play out?
So I think it played out pretty good for us, and we were quite fortunate. Again, the founders, they asked for an exit. They did mention that the story was strong, and they were getting a good round. But they said that we are only buying out your shares, and we were okay with that because we realized initially we were one of the first checks in Blusmart in 2019 December. That time the founder access was there, they used to come, they used to meet you, all that happened. Cut to 24 or 23, it kind of suddenly dried up when they became a little big in terms of the company, the funds they raised, and then, the founder's access dried up, the numbers not matching up. The same story played out multiple times, but I think it never, if you see it on paper, it was there, but in actual, the story was something else. That's where we realized that I think we should look to take an exit, and we were quite lucky to get one.
Good foresight, if I may say, because having that kind of speed, and you just said it right, that you work like a VC, you are actually a family office. That is the speed that you see, and this foresight shows what agility and what on your feet thinking that you have if you could exit at the right time.
Yeah.
And the other name you mentioned was PharmEasy. What was that experience like?
So PharmEasy, I think we invested through someone, and I think it was very good until a point of time where the pre-IPO and everything was happening in, and we even added up the pre-IPO shares, and then that's where everything started going down, and then came a point where it was a rights issue of just 5 rupees. Oh. And I think it's a learning curve that, again, as I said, when you get the opportunity to exit at the right time, take it. It's not like the public markets where you can exit any point of time and there's no exchange as such, like the public markets. But yeah, I think the investment in PharmEasy also opened up a lot of doors, and people were very excited because very few early people had invested that early in PharmEasy.
What about Beco Tissue, another Indian company,
Yeah.
bamboo-based products and
Yeah,
tissues
so
which
I
you've
think
invested?
Beco was a very good investment for us. We invested in this via platform, and I think the valuation was at 18 crores pre-money, and the product was very interesting. Sustainable D2C brand, and आजकल sustainable products बहुत चल रहे हैं, and a lot of people have become very climate tech conscious, and things are also coming to India at this level. And we thought the brand is young, the founders are great. We actually wanted to do a bigger check, but अब वो round subscribe हो गया था, so we could do only a small check. But there we got an exit recently, couple of months back, at a decent 6x, the investment.
Wow, wow. Okay. Also, you mentioned Fitso. So Fitso is a company which has changed hands from Zomato to CureFit. At roughly 50 million was the valuation at which it happened. Where did you come into this?
So we came in Fitso super early. Again, chota check डाला था, experimental investment. The founders were building something else. Now they build something else. And I think people at Zomato really like what they were building, and they were looking to acquire them. And then I think हम लोग को option था कि क्या तो Zomato के shares ले लो या exit ले लो. So we, as our thesis, हम लोग को वही लगा कि exit ले लेते हैं, and then Zomato के shares apply करने हो तो बाद में कर लेंगे. And that's what we eventually did later also when Zomato IPO'd. So yeah.
Okay, okay. And what about Country Delight? That is another one exciting company which I saw in your portfolio.
Yeah.
So what was Country Delight's entry, exit point, and investment like?
So I think Country Delight was again invested through one of our partners, and we invested in them via them. And I think the entry point and the exit point made us a decent multiples. I don't remember the details now, but we definitely made around 7 to 8x the multiple.
Moving on, we'd like to go into the rapid fire round.
Sure.
Just no diplomacy again and quick answers.
Again, not from my portfolio companies, right?
No. So, a founder you wish you had invested but you didn't.
I think Zepto मेरे पास एक दो फ्रेंड्स ने काफ़ी टाइम पहले शेयर किया था, and that time we didn't realize that it could become Zepto. So I think I would have loved to invest over there.
Right. A unicorn you think is overrated?
I think all the unicorns are overrated. I'll not name some, but any who kind of burn 100 crore to get a few lakhs revenue are overrated. So, मतलब जो भी companies ने 100 crore का revenue, 100 crore का पैसा burn किया just to get like 50 lakh, 60 lakh, I think all of them are like overrated.
So you're not for blind growth.
Yeah.
One word startup founders should delete from their pitch decks.
I would say 3 साल में unicorn बन जाएगी.
If ICE.vc had to invest in a Bollywood character, who would it be?
Interesting. I think I would say Rancho, 3 Idiots. Creative, curious, and builds products. मतलब जो product बनाता है actually use case में आता है.
What is one founder habit that secretly impresses you?
I think एक चीज़ मुझे काफ़ी impress करती है, जब आप बड़े funds भी raise कर लेते हो, you make sure that कि आपके पुराने investors are kept in the loop, every time quarterly numbers update करना, what's happening, अगर good चीज़ें होती है, you share those good things. अगर bad things are happening, then you share those bad things as well. And keeping your investors updated at least once in a quarter, if not every month, that's what excites me about a founder a lot.
Right. Coffee meeting or Zoom pitch? What do you prefer?
I think depends. अभी इस Zoom pitch आज के डेट में काफ़ी easy हो गया with all the traffic. अभी recent example था when I was planning to go to Bangalore for in-person meetings, and Bombay में बहुत बारिश हुई and we couldn't take the flight. So all those meetings became on Zoom. So it's convenient, but I would say in-person meet.
Right. In-person meet is something that
always better, because then you know what the founder is thinking. You see his psychological behavior in terms of his pitch, his way of talking. You come to know what his way of looking at his company is.
Right. What is the most bizarre or weird pitch that you've gotten at a weird location maybe?
I think एक founder ने मतलब काफ़ी crazy idea था. I would be surprised अगर if it 30-40 years में it actually kind of looks to happen. तो उसने बोला कि हम मून में जाके चाय स्टॉल्स लगेंगे. I'm like, अब तक आदमी मून में पहुंचा भी नहीं, and you are thinking चाय स्टॉल्स on the moon. So I think that's been the wildest pitch ever I've call it a moonshot idea though.
What is the most underrated city in India for startups?
I think all these small towns and cities are the underrated cities. There's a company that I'd met. They were doing hydroponic farming. I'll not name them, but I think they started their farming. IIT Bombay boys, but they started their farming in a small town out of Kota. So I think I've never seen a startup in Kota. So all these companies have, all these towns have these founders, but they don't have the access to the right people. So I think anyone from these places looking to build anything kind of do connect to us.
A book that every founder should read?
A book called One Up on Wall Street by Peter Lynch is one of my favorites.
Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, which is more accurate to a real VC life?
I think both are exciting in their own spaces. Dragon Den kind of created the audience, niche audience for them. Whereas Shark Tank, you see now, you're seeing a lot of Shark Tank, Sony India, where a lot of these founders from smaller towns also came in and the kind of stories we came to know. So I think both.
And, we see a lot of these celebrities turn into family offices. We've heard MS Dhoni, Deepika Padukone, these people setting up family offices. Can you explain how do those family offices work? Is there any standard operating procedure?
I don't know about MS Dhoni's family office, but we did do one deal with Deepika Padukone's family office, where we got them the Blusmart deal.
Okay.
And they like the product, they like the service, good cab aggregating happening, clean taxis, and they also invested with us in the next round. And I think when the founders offered the exit, they took it convincingly.
So I've read you have investments in US and Israel, but do you have investments in Dubai as well?
No, we just have 4 or 5 companies that we invested in US. One of them being Spacex. We invested way back in 2017, 2018. I think Fubo TV also we did 2020, and then the IPO happened. We have a couple of companies based out of Israel that we invested in. Out of that, 2 companies did a listing in NASDAQ. And I think post 2022 or 23, we have been 100% in India.
So a recent report says SpaceX is closely valued at around 400 billion.
Yeah.
So did you apply in any of the tenders? What is your participation?
So we applied through a platform in US, and it was way back in 2018. And that time, of course, the kind of check size they were asking, we said it's not going to happen. They were doing block deals of big numbers, but the platform that we applied through gave us a good opportunity. And that time the valuation was also at like a 35, 40 billion dollar, which was still high, but they were just about testing the rockets. And we thought that if that's going to be success, then when they start launching on a commercial scale, it's going to go through the roof. So then we thought of investing then.
Right, that's very exciting. I think it's already 10x.
Yeah, it is now.
Great to know. So we thought of an interesting case study for you. So let's say you have to just put in one investment check and you have 2 options.
Right.
2 starkly different industries in India.
Right.
Let's say one is an arranged marriage company looking to, something like a Shadi.com, and secondly, a dating app. So these 2 are again totally different even in terms of the sensibilities of the Indian market. But you have to invest in one of these 2. Which one would you pick?
I think both are interesting markets in their own right. Marriage more stable. I think TAM is good. Shadi.com we all know, and the older generations believe in that. So I think I would probably split the money into 2, maybe 70-30, 60-40 depending. I think dating app, a lot of these Gen Zs are into it fast, not very monetizable because a lot of people come in, they don't pay, and they kind of go on to the other app. Competition is there. But a lot of, India is also becoming a place where there's a lot of options of, meeting people through these apps. I know a lot of people who have met people on the dating app. But again, the ones where the marriage app is like a lot of India is still a traditional driven country. So I think the in terms of, I would not give an exact number, but I think the scale is huge because India as a country, the population is crazy. And again, from the dating app, it actually eventually goes into towards the marriage segment, even though if it's late. So I think both of them have huge potential. Apart from Shadi.com or in dating app companies like Truly, Madly, Bumble, I have not seen a lot because again I see a lot of users being fragmented into these, and now users also have a lot of options and ways and means to kind of connect, So it's a very vague thought process that I have in mind.
Right. And like I said, starkly different markets. So it's not very easy to, pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mrunal, you've been in the game for quite some time now. What excites you more today? The early stage hustle, or is it the late stage scale that you want to achieve?
I think you know my answer for now.
Yeah, it is the
early
early stage
stage hustle because that's what our philosophy has been, and हम लोग को लगता है early stage founders आप उनको mold कर सकते हो. Once the founder has reached a decent stage, let's say a series B or a C, he's already at a place where there will be 100 people, trying to get his attention and trying to teach him or say what to do. But early stage still can meet those 100 people and see how we can reach to a late stage.
Makes a lot of sense. And if you had to pick, one sector from which the biggest unicorns will come up in the next 5 to 10 years,
Right.
which is that one sector?
I think a lot of people have said AI. I personally feel consumer tech companies also have a good potential. India is gaining towards a lot of the health tech, health consumer space. A lot of those brands can come out. A lot of people you see have started taking in, healthy protein supplements. Sports categories like pickleball are opening up. I'd probably not say unicorn will be built out of it, but there will be a lot of multiple companies coming in. Every day new companies form, and everyone is doing something separate towards a pickleball. Then recently you saw Super U and 2-3 other companies name those protein bars. So that's a space also picking up. And I think all of these brands that thrive the Indian consumer to be aspirational can create a unicorn in that category.
Right.
Like luxury, luxury living, travel is a big opportunity as well. A lot of these, Gen Zs are going to these hostels to stay. That culture is also coming up. A lot of options are there.
Right. So outside of the returns, what legacy do you want ICE.vc to leave behind for the startup ecosystem?
Yeah, I think the legacy that we are looking to leave behind in the Indian startup ecosystem is we want to believe in the founders before their parents did, and we want to be remembered for that we are the early stage backers, and no matter what space or sectors you build in, if we like it, maybe if we like what the founders are building and the way building, we'll always be there to back them.
Right. And lastly, if you'd want to give a word of advice to any founders watching, first of all, and second, what was your experience on coming on the Corner Office show?
I think very interesting experience for us to come because it's my first podcast, as straight coming out of the thought process. I haven't even prepared for it, frankly. And one word of advice for the founders is keep hustling, keep building. Don't chase too much for the capital, get the revenue, the capital will follow. And I think keep building out of India for not just India, but outside India as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Mrunal. It was a pleasure to have you, and it has been a very insightful conversation. Thank you for giving us your time. I'm sure a lot of founders and a lot of people from the family office and VC ecosystem would be delighted to listen from you. And thanks a lot. I will be looking forward to being in touch with you.
Hoping so I'm able to give some viewpoints of what we've learned over the past 8-9 years, and happy to be on the show as well. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Mrunal. Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share it with a founder who is looking to raise funds.